Welcome to another Sunday social, or maybe I should say the first one, since we had so many technical issues during the first one that no one was able to actually watch it. But I am basically just going to be talking about everyone's stuff in the fantasy football community. Basically, just talking, trying to show off all of your stuff. If you are a writer, if you're a podcaster, if you are trying to get into this stuff, send me a link. I can get you in here. We can talk football. We can do start sits. We can do just about anything. Basically, I have an hour to kill. I want to show off people's content, and I want to kind of do, going right along with Mike Fiala at Daddy's Home FF. He does the timeline takeover on Sundays, and I just want to make sure that I'm trying to do my part of, showing off everyone's stuff as well. So we're going to be going over all of that. Give me 1 second. I just wanted to retweet this real quick. Make sure that people know that we are on. We are on YouTube Live. If Periscope's having issues again, you can go to the Monocle Podcast YouTube page and watch it live there. We're also on Twitch and obviously on Twitter. Hopefully the Periscope isn't having issues this time and we can actually get through this. But I wanted to start off with the guy that I started off with last week. But once again, I don't think anyone was able to watch, so we'll go ahead and do it again. And that is Dave Fantasy. If you go to the contenderconnection.com, contenderconnection.com is the actual website. Click on latest articles. You're going to see a lot of them are from Dave. But actually the last 4 were from Dave. The guy's been putting out a lot of work. Basically every week he's putting out the Something Caught My Eye. I just realized I didn't put a picture on that one, so it looks kind of funky, but he did his first ever fantasy breakup when basically he just kind of went over some of the players that started off hot and maybe you kind of fallen out of love with. The Petty Old Man was more of an opinion piece, but hey, he's done so much work for me. I put out so much good content that I wanted to, if he wants to put out an opinion on the Dolphins, the 72 Dolphins, he's more than happy, or I'm more than happy to put it up on the site. And then obviously his fantasy crush with Deontay Johnson. That's all there on the website. Obviously, you can check his page and everything. But more importantly, with Dave, on a different website, on thepregamehq.com, he actually does a weekly start and sit column. And it's the sneaky and not so sneaky starts. And this is the desperation edition. But basically, we're in the playoffs, and it's not really all that pretty, depending on what you're, who you have. There's a lot of injuries. There's a lot of COVID players out. I know my teams were hit by it, but he's telling you to, start Jalen Hurts, even though that doesn't really sound great. But, you might be desperate at the QB position in like a 2 QB league. Nick Mullins, Jeffrey Wilson, that's a good one. Peyton Barber, I wouldn't want to do it, but I guess I could understand, why you might have to. Michael Pittman, Russell Gage, Cole Kmet, that's a good one. I don't think people realize how many routes Cole Kmet's running, and the fact that he's actually the number 1 tight end right now in Chicago. That might not be saying a lot, but the tight end landscape is pretty nasty. So a lot of great info there, but I really wanted to start off by showcasing Dave. Dave's kind of one of the up and coming stars, one of the risers in the fantasy football community, but he's putting in a lot of work. He actually takes the time to sit there and show what he's very, upfront about it. He admits when he was wrong. He, even goes and does little videos and stuff with his punishments. But, he's becoming a better analyst every week, and he's definitely somebody that I appreciate. Get back to me. But let's see, like I said, we're going to be going over Mike Fiala's timeline takeover and just kind of pimping out stuff that you guys were putting on his page. So let's go back. And before we get back into it, I think I said it, but if anybody wants to jump on here and talk football, or, just talk, if you've been nervous, you've been wanting to start a podcast, whatever it is, and you just want to get on here and do kind of your first live stream or anything like that, just slide in the DMs, either mine or the Monocle Podcast DMs on Twitter, and I'll send you the link. I can't do it publicly, but I can send you a DM with it. But let's go ahead and start off with Rob Norton. he has his Week 14 DraftKings DFS plays. Devontae Adams, Corey Davis, and more. I love it. I love that Corey Davis is finally getting some respect to his name. I mean, obviously, it took him getting like a 35-point week for people to truly fall in love with them. I'm not saying that Rob is a bandwagon jumper or anything like that, but I just love that he's getting the respect he deserves now. But definitely check that out for DFS plays. Let's see who else he's got here. Herbert, Wilson, Tannehill. I like all those. Wilson one's a little scary, but it is the Jets. So, not that scary, but he just hasn't been cooking quite the same. Running backs, Gio, that one's definitely scary, but that matchup is amazing. The price is definitely nice. Aaron Jones, can't go wrong with anybody against the Lions D. And Myles Gaskin, obviously I'm assuming that Rob put this out before Gaskin went on the COVID list, so we'll give him a pass on that one. But I definitely like that call, even though it didn't work out. It was a go in for sure. J.D. McKissick, great call. San Fran has a great defense, but we've seen that Alex Smith trust that guy. He's running routes from the slot. He's running routes all over the place. I mean, he gets uber targeted, so I definitely would be checking that out as well. So that's good stuff from Rob. Let's get back over here and see. He also has his Week 14 stream team, and that's at Last Word on Sports. Both of those were lastwordonsports.com. So go check those out. Looks like Rob's putting out some good work. Matt FF Dynasty at Matt FF Dynasty has his DeAndre Swift from a Bulldog to a Lion thread. I know we'll take a quick look at it real quick. Touted as one of the best running backs. Oh yeah, he's going into college stats. He's got the film. Obviously, we know he was great in college. Career so far, week 1, and probably not the greatest, but that's awesome. I mean, you can see there's a lot going into this thread. Definitely something to check out. Swift has kind of been one of those up and down players. It kind of sucks that right as he kind of got the lead dog position, then he got COVID, or no, not COVID. He got the concussion, and since then hasn't quite been the same. But hopefully he can get back out there this week. I actually did start him in a league this week, which is a little scary because it's the playoffs. And we don't know if he's 100% or anything, but it seems like he's past the concussion part now. Whatever illness he had or anything isn't great, but like I'm assuming says in the thread here, he's a stud, and he's definitely somebody that I would want to have on my team. But more importantly, check out Matt's thread here. And then, all right, so we saw, actually, I was talking about Mugs Fly Together last week on the Sunday Social, but they're doing a 15% off with promo code HOLIDAY15. Any mugs that you want. Last week they had a pretty funny one. Let's see if they have another funny one here on their site. Oh yeah, they got the Philly special, how I spend my time, fantasy football and work. There's some really, really cool for anybody that loves fantasy. Get on there, check that out, and save 15% with the promo code holiday15. So that's pretty cool from them. And Nina is putting a little clown face on, and I think I saw something earlier in the week with her going back and forth with somebody about that Eagles game. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I'm assuming that the clown face has something to do with that. Not 100% sure, but definitely she puts out some funny videos and everything. So hold on one second. I'm going to check my DMs, just make sure no one's trying to jump in. And nope, I think we're good. All right. So Average Joe's Fantasy Football at Average Joe's _FF is having a giveaway on their YouTube channel by subscribing and commenting favorite team to enter. Also answering line questions this morning. So they're obviously doing something on YouTube, probably YouTube Live, I'm assuming. But go ahead and subscribe to them. I should not have clicked on that link because it just went off in my ear. But check out their stuff. But more importantly, go subscribe and enter to win. I I don't think it clearly says what you can win, but anything football, fantasy football related or anything, I definitely want to be a part of that. So go check them out. All right, so here's a good one. Gladys Louise Tyler, at Never Enough LT, I'm guessing. I think that's an L. Could be an I. Sorry for screwing that up. But they have the Sunday War Room at Going for Two Live, answering your playoff questions, DFS questions, and relationship quandaries. So that's kind of interesting at 11:30. So, you have a little bit of time if you wanted to switch over to them. Check this one out, and then go listen to Gladys because they going live. They'll be on YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook. And that's at Going for Two Live. So Justin Wright is the next one at Justin_14P, and he has some great DFS content from at 14P Pod, and that's courtesy of You In or You Out. Let's see what he's talking about this week. I like looking at the DFS stuff. This is one of the first weeks in a while that I haven't done any DFS, but I had a really busy week of work, and I just didn't have time to sit there and look at lineups or anything. And if you're not going to put some time and effort in, I guess you could, follow these guys obviously and just do what they say. But I kind of like, making my own determinations, even if I am reading somebody else's stuff. Okay, so they're going through the actual stack of, the DFS stack week 14. So they're going through all the games. They have the spreads, the over under. I like getting into all that because that's where you start really making your money, when you're finding out what teams are projected to score 55 points and what teams are projected to score 42 points and like that kind of thing. You can't really score too many points normally if the teams in general aren't scoring very many. But yeah, it looks like you got a lot of info here. It's just about that one game, I guess, but that's a lot of info. So definitely check that one out. It looks like Ewan's doing doing some good work there. Then we got Derek Devereaux at Derek Devereaux on Twitter. He wrote some notes on David Montgomery and Jonathan Taylor, just so everyone knows how bad he actually is at DFS. And that's at basementbroodff.com. So check that out. Apparently, Derek's not the greatest at DFS, but as long as he's owning it and as long as you guys can learn from it, learn from his mistakes, then he can actually make you, some better at DFS, which will be pretty nice. And then let's see here. Drew DeLuca at Drew Delaware is fine-tuning your NFL Week 14 DFS fantasy football lineup with these value recommendations at all positions for every budget. So we'll check that one out real quick at NFLspinzone.com, I believe. Yep. So check that one out from Drew. Oh, just went up a minute ago, it says. So that's pretty cool. Another one with Russell Wilson up there. I mean, the matchup's just too good. You can't really – you got to be able to take advantage of that. And mid-tier values. I want to see the value tier. Here we go. Phillip Rivers, 5,900. Mitchell Trubisky. I actually like that one. I know it sounds really scary to start Trubisky, but A, the price at 5,600, and B, he's actually been better than I think people really realize. I mean, he's never going to be amazing or anything, but at that price, I could definitely see starting him for sure. But check that one out by Drew. Let's get back to it. Justin Wright also has some buy low candidates week 14. That's probably, you got some last minute lineups or any last minute replacements that you need to do, then you can go buy some of these candidates for sure. Check that out at 14personnel.com. And I'm sorry, that wasn't from Justin. He was just pimping somebody else's stuff. That was that was courtesy of at the Radio Mike. So let's keep going. I don't know if this one's actually like anybody pimping out their stuff or anything, but it's just Corey Davis is going to be a top 5 wide receiver this week from Bruce Edmonds at Bruce Edmonds. I love that call. Whether it actually happens or not, we'll see. I'm a little worried because you never know with, when you never know when Derrick Henry is going to go off completely. And when he does, then that obviously hurts everyone else. We saw it happen at the end of last year. It's hard for receivers to be the best, top 10, top 5 when the running back is going for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. So we never know what week it's going to be. Obviously, I hope for a lot of people's sakes that Ryan Tannehill has a good game, Corey Davis, obviously AJ Brown, even Anthony Ferkser and obviously Derrick Henry. But it's just tough to get them all going at the same time. But it is a good matchup, so hopefully we can get some of that, because I definitely have some. I have some Tannehill, I have some Henry, I have AJ Brown in a league, I have a lot of Corey Davis, and I definitely need those guys to hit for sure. But I love the call by Bruce. All right, so FF Succaneers at Succaneers on Twitter has some dark horses. Antonio Brown versus men. I like that one, especially with Mike Evans not being 100%. I could definitely see that one paying off. And, especially if you're talking about DFS, then, I doubt a lot of people are going to be going to the Antonio Brown well after he, basically like goosed last week, or it wasn't a goose, but it was like 3 points or whatever he had. But, he had been kind of uber targeted the 2 previous weeks before that. So I like that. Jordan Akins versus Chicago. I mean, I guess it is a dark horse call. I don't love playing anybody against Chicago really, but for tight ends, you kind of got to go with who's going to get targeted. And then Philip Lindsay versus Carolina, which, it is technically his week. If you go back and look between Gordon and Lindsay, they're literally taking weeks every other week. And so last week was Gordon's week. So obviously this week is Philip Lindsay's week. Kidding, but kind of not kidding. And let's see. We got at K Fantasy Sports. King Fantasy Sports is talking about playoffs, and they have some predictions for the RB MVPs. Let's see what they're talking about here. Continue with the running back position. See if they're talking about. Okay, yeah. So the 2020 playoff MVP running back predictions. So I like that. Obviously, it might be a little late to go and get some of these guys, but you never know. I mean, a lot of leagues don't have trade deadlines. None of mine do. I hate trade deadlines, so get that crap out of here. But definitely, you got your David Montgomery, obviously Derrick Henry. We just talked about him. Aaron Jones, love that. He's got cake matchups as well, and so it's those 3 guys. But yeah, I definitely like it. It's going through all the matchups. Good stuff there by at K Fantasy _sports. All right. And I think that was it for that thread. I'm going to scroll back through, but before I do that, I'm going to show another thing on the contenderconnection.com. And we just talked about it on the podcast. And, it was basically all about Dave at FF _spaceman, his weekly database that he's created. If you haven't listened to the podcast, obviously check it out. There's a lot of good info, basically going over everything you could possibly ever want or need to talk about. We had a lot of issues with the video. For whatever reason, I was having issues with video last week, but I kind of want to just go over it real quick. I ended up having to delete the video, so you can't really see what we were talking about. So one of the biggest things is, you might be confused when you first get on there, but, there is a glossary. So, kind of goes over everything. You can see all about, anything and everything. If you don't know what an evaded tackle actually is, if you don't know what Whopper is, there's a lot of different things, and it'll sit there and walk you through everything. Then it's all broken down by, this is the season averages as a whole for the 2020 season, or you can go to the individual weekly stats. And, it'll literally have all of week 1, all of week 2. There's ways to kind of navigate and just pinpoint one particular week and everything. And then obviously Dave has it so that you have the latest week. So we're in week 14, obviously. But there's so much great info here. I'm not going to go into any kind of details, but obviously you can find that on Spaceman's Twitter, or it has its own dedicated page with Peter Howard's database on contenderconnection.com. So either way, you can check that out. It's free. There's a lot of great info. And if you ever have any questions about it, just, send me a DM, send Dave a DM. Dave's a lot busier than I am because he's doing all the stuff with the database. So, it might be easier to hit me up because I'm usually hitting him up about the database anyway. And we don't want him to get like overloaded or anything, or any more overloaded than he already is. So now I'm clicking on the wrong stuff, but let's get back to the timeline. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was in the wrong thread again. All right. So we already went through those. Sorry, Mike's timeline gets kind of jumbled because some people put in the thread, some people don't, and so it's kind of difficult going through and making sure I don't skip anything. But I've gone through all of these, I believe, and I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. The Fantasy Football Astronauts at FF Astronauts. Happy Playoff Sunday. They have lineup advice, DFS lineups, and more. And I think that they have. Oh, let us help you with our weekly mission recap. Okay, so that's at ffastronauts.com. And they have all kinds of stuff. They have their rankings. They have the start and sit there. They have their DFS. I mean, they have quite a bit going on. So definitely check out the Astronauts. They put out good stuff. And sounds like they can basically take care of all of your needs there. This one's from at Big Muzz 26, and you know what? I've been talking with Nick a lot over the past year, at least 6 months or so. We've gone back and forth. It was kind of cool seeing him switch over from just a casual fantasy player and everything to an analyst, and started his first writing his first article not too long ago, a few months ago if I remember correctly, and now he's writing for the FF Astronauts as well. It looks like he's doing some Devi work for them, which is awesome. Like I said, definitely check his stuff out. But it was just kind of cool to see the progression from going from casual fantasy player to, or maybe not casual. I don't want to act like he doesn't know what he's talking about or anything, but like just fantasy player to analyst. It was cool seeing that transition, and it's one of the first ones that I can truly like remember seeing like somebody diving right in. But he's talking about Jalen Waddle and what's going to make him a stud basically in the NFL. So obviously you want to check that out. You got to start looking to the future and trying to figure out who you're going to be looking for when it comes to like the rookie drafts and everything. So check that out at the ffastronauts.com. Another one from the Astronauts, they have Logan Thomas Week 13 review. So that's kind of cool. They have some film review going on there, and seems like they're putting out a lot of work. Give me 1 second. All right. Sorry, just making sure I didn't have anybody trying to jump on or anything. Like, once again, if anybody wants to jump on, if anybody wants to talk football, just talk. We can talk about anything. It doesn't really have to be football. We can talk lineups. We can talk start sit questions. We can talk DFS, like basically whatever you want to do. We can definitely do that. We got another, speaking of DFS, another one from the ffastronauts.com, and it's at ff_spotlight, and he's doing the breakdown there of the main slate. So that one's pretty cool. And I know I saw this one earlier, but I don't know exactly what it is. It's Shane Barrett at FF Shane B. And it's finally here, the inaugural Polly's playoffs. First, I want to thank everyone who participated. Congratulations to everyone who made it. This will be annual, so if you didn't make it this year, you'll have a chance next year. It's going through and showing all the different leagues and everything. I don't know a lot about that league. I apologize, but it said there's a little bit of a synopsis here. 17 leagues, 5 playoff appearances, 2 buys, 4 intentional rebuilds, barely missed the playoffs. Oh, I guess that's Shane's league, so never mind. That's he's just talking about what he's doing there. Oh, and this is another one. So Marco Enriquez at Marco underscore 14P. He's kind of doing his own timeline takeover as well. So I might be able to see if he has any that we missed here. Like Fantasy Ladder at Fantasy Ladder is doing Rookie Watch, talking about the rookies. Oh, that was from week 13. So going back and looking at some of the rookies, and that's at dynastyprosfootball.com. Here, let's see what they're talking about here. Stud of the week, Justin Jefferson. That's not a surprise to anybody, I don't think. Cam Akers and Brandon Ayuk. I guess the Cam Akers stud was this week, was week 14, so that wouldn't apply to week 13, obviously. And duds of the week, Justin Herbert definitely hurt some people. I know a lot of people ended up missing the playoffs because of him. Jerry Jeudy. If you were trusting Jeudy at this point, I don't know. Maybe your team wasn't as good as you thought it was anyway. Who a new name to the series? We were talking about Cole Kmet earlier. I like that he's getting some respect now. Quintus Cephas with Marvin Hall being let go. He's definitely going to get a little bit more work. And Lynn Bowden Jr., he's kind of getting a little more work there in Miami. Definitely some good names here. A lot of work here. A lot of rookie talk. I like it. So check that out at dynastyprosfootball.com. And definitely if you have anything to retweet, hit up Marco, hit up Mike Viella. They're pimping everybody's stuff. I'm just kind of trying to go over, anything that I can, talk it over, answer any questions or anything. But they're the ones that are really showing everybody some love. And let's see, Average Joe's Fantasy Football at Average Joe's _FF. Oh, that's the giveaway that we were talking about before. So definitely check that one out. And all right, I saw this earlier too, at goingfor2.com. They have a holiday special Tuesday, December 22nd. That seems like it's going to be pretty cool. They're making a big deal about it. So it's getting me all excited and everything. Jay at GMinJ was kind of putting it out there for everybody. So seems like that would be something, but that'll be in a couple weeks. Interested to see what that's all about. See if they have any details. Nope, it's just the picture. Excuse me. All right, and then Scott Simpson at Nimble with Numbers. He's been on the happy hour before, so we definitely enjoy him. But he's got a lot of stuff going on. Content from at Bo McBigtime and also Scott's as well. At fantasy6pack.net, they have DFS, they have the week 14, they have Bo Knows DFS, and they have the DFS tool. So definitely check out their stuff. They're obviously doing quite a bit with it. Then we have Factory Sports TV. Before you set your lineup today, take a look at the rookie edition of the top 3 must starts, brought to you by at DFF Fantasy or Dynasty and voiced by at FF Down Under. So it's just like a little 2-minute video, nothing too crazy. Definitely check that out. I love anything video, anything like that. I just love checking out that kind of material, especially when there's actual, numbers and actionable material behind it. But check that out at Factory Sports TV on Twitter. We got Pro Football Mania at Pro Football Man 1 is and profootballmania.com. Their loaded week 14 preview, 5 bold predictions, 5 sleepers, 5 players to fade. I want to see who they're fading because I'm wondering if it's Kyler. It wouldn't be a bad one. So let's go to it real quick. And that's by Scott Mangan. I think I said it right. Sorry if I didn't. Mangan. Let's see. Let's try to scroll through this real quick. Here we go. 5 bold predictions. Let's see what these bold predictions are all about. All right, so they're calling for a massive workload for Rojo. Obviously they're talking about it here, but it's hard to trust Bruce Arians. It's hard to actually trust that he's going to do what he says and say what he does and all that kind of stuff. But if it was ever going to happen, you would kind of think it would be in this game, but I don't know. It's so hard to trust them. I'm kind of hedging my bet in one league, and I'm starting Rojo and Fournette, and it's kind of ugly. And I wish I had the balls of steel to start DeAndre Washington in Miami, but I don't want to trust that one either. I feel like it's probably the better call, but I also feel like I'm kind of hedging my bet with starting Fournette and Rojo. That if they do give him the rock the whole time, then that's great. It'll work out fine with Rojo. But if they get behind really quickly and they're having to play catch up ball and all that kind of stuff, then obviously Fournette's going to get a little bit more work. But that one's definitely scary. And they were saying, Rojo rewards him with 150 plus total yards. I mean, I could definitely see it if he actually gets the ball 20 plus times. I mean, it's so hard to trust that. DJ Chark becomes a nuisance to all of his owners who missed the playoffs due to his injury-riddled season by posting his best game of the year. That would definitely hurt some people. And then Christian McCaffrey owners struggle to sleep on Sunday night after they see Mike Davis finishes a top 10 running back versus the Broncos. Now, the Broncos have a pretty good defense. In fact, I want to say that they've been one of the best in like the last 4 weeks of the season. It seems like they kind of getting better as time goes on. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to trust that Mike Davis is going to do it. Once again, I do have him in a lineup. So I am trusting him to a certain extent. Saying he's going to finish as a top 10 running back might be a stretch, but it is a bold prediction. That's what we're supposed to do. And then Brashad Perryman earns a multi-year contract with a big performance versus the Seahawks. I mean, with Denzel Mims being out, I don't know if Jameson Crowder's actually out or if he's just questionable, but I thought I heard that he wasn't going to play, or maybe he was just leaning towards not playing, whatever it is. But I guess I could see it. Seahawks defense is honestly, pretty bad. I could definitely see that. DK Metcalf goes Madden rookie mode on the Jets defense. I would actually love to see that. But I also need Tyler Lockett to score quite a bit, so I don't want to see it too much. But I guess I'd like to see Russ get back to cooking and all that kind of stuff. And the Jets defense is definitely right. The only problem is they just got rid of Greg Williams, so that their defense might actually get better. It could even get substantially better, depending on who's calling the plays out there. But once again, go to profootballmania.com and check out the bold predictions, 5 sleepers and 5 players to fade from at Fantasy Spatula. And let's see what else we got. Oh, why is it skipping around? Oh, we got me right there. So obviously check this out. And sorry, I don't know what happened with the timeline, but it jumped around on me. All right, we've already talked about Fantasy Ladder. Check his out. Bo knows. We talked about him a minute ago, but they have the Podcastic Network, and that's he's approaching 2K followers. Let's see where Bo is. He's at 1954. He just got a follow from me, so he's at 1955. So let's get Bo up to that 2,000 milestone. Hopefully before the end of the day. If not, then as soon as possible. That'd be pretty cool. I know 2K is a pretty big deal, so that would be awesome. Obviously, check out if you are under 1.5K followers, you can join the fantasy football community, Fantasy Stars under 1.5K that Mike created. And, Mike shows so much love to the community. It's awesome. I want to be like Mike, as cliche as that is. And that's why I'm kind of doing this. I'm trying to help out, but it's pretty cool. If you, like I said, you can join the list. We have 94 members. I'm a part of it. But yeah, 94 members. We have some followers. Even if you're above 1.5K or you don't want to actually be a part of the list or anything, you can just follow it so you can encourage those people and encourage the members and check out all their stuff. It's pretty cool. but that's on Mike's page, and you can definitely hit him up if you have any questions about how to join it. And I think we got through all of it so far. Yeah, I think we might have actually gone through it. Last week we had 50, or maybe even a little bit more than 50 that I had to go over, and it was a lot of fun. But it was also a lot of work and everything. It seems like maybe we haven't gotten as many, but then again, it is only 11:35. There's obviously going to be more coming through. FF Intervention at Join Our Circle _ is worried about the James Bradbury versus DeAndre Hopkins matchup. Bo McBigtime brings another spicy stack for DFS in Week 14 with the Arizona Cardinals stack, and that's a YouTube video. Go check that out. That's pretty cool. And then we got Michael Hoff, the FF Realist, and it's playoff time. FF Faceoff at FF Faceoff is live today at 11:15. Obviously, that's they've been going here for a little bit, but they're on Twitch and YouTube. Immortality, fantasy football immortality awaits. Yeah, that's a thing. So check them out. Looks like they're getting some good viewership on that, so that's cool. Check out Michael. And then I just want to make sure I haven't missed anybody here. We already went over all that. So if anybody's watching, then if you have any start sit questions or anything that you'd like to go over, we can wait for some more stuff to trickle in, and then we can go over that. Here, let me get this on here. We still need to get Nubs to 600. We didn't quite meet our goal of getting that done on Tuesday, but it doesn't matter if we meet the goal of the deadline. We just want to meet the goal of getting him to that number. Nubs is putting in a lot of hard work for the Monocle, and we definitely appreciate it. Also, we're going to be doing not with Nubs, but with at Ushane's _ and at Aaron Wilcox 89, I believe it is. It's either 89 or 86. I always forget. But we're going to be doing another Devy devotional pod. And so if you have any questions, Devy questions or anything like that, send them to me, send them to Aaron, send them to Dushane's. And we're going to be recording that sometime this week, I believe. And then, putting that out later in the week. And obviously, to check out the Monocle Pod, basically any of the streaming services or anything like that, check out contenderconnection.com, at contenderconnection.com. There's a lot of good articles, a lot of good info right there. And I'm kind of surprised that we don't have any comments or anything. I don't know. Maybe Sunday at 11:30 is not the greatest time to go live because people are so busy setting their lineups and everything. But I figured we'd at least get some start sit questions or something. I'm checking to make sure that you guys can actually see this, since I'm like paranoid since last week we had so many issues with the stream. I'm going to check on that and see if we can't get some comments, some start sit questions or anything like that. All right. So while we're waiting for that, let's see if we got any more from Mike's page. I know that people are constantly adding stuff on. If not, then we can go over some. Oh, all right. Finally got something from we got Nathan, which Nathan actually brought on, or I should have brought Nathan on because he does have balls of steel, and he started, who was it? Chad Hansen over Tyler Boyd this morning, and he showed us making the change in his lineup. And man, that in the playoffs, that takes some balls. That takes some cojones. And but I love Nate. He's awesome. Make sure you follow him too. And but yeah, that takes balls. I wish I had that kind of I don't know, the gusto or whatever you want to call it, gusto. Let's see, Mike. Here we go. Now we've basically gone over all of it. I'm kind of surprised. Like last week, basically took me about an hour or even longer to get through everyone's stuff, and this week it hasn't really taken nearly as long. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. I do love that Corey Davis is going to be a top 5 wide receiver this week. Call by Bruce. I know we talked about that earlier, but in case you missed it, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, it looks like I actually got through all of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to containerconnection.com, and I'm going to go to one of Dave Fantasy's articles and kind of just go over some of the players he was talking about this week. I told you guys that he has the fantasy breakup. He has the fantasy crush. A lot of love going on, but I want to see who he's talking about here. So we'll go to the fantasy breakup. And so Kyler Murray was one. Miles Sanders was another one. Two of the big names that you're probably really excited about, and then just haven't really quite done what you needed them to do lately. And then DJ Chark, that was a big one. I know we just had the hot take saying that DJ Chark would be like a week winner this week, but I have a hard time believing it. That that offense is not that great. But I know that would definitely kill some people if Chark went off this week. But not an overly long article for this one, but just kind of going over some of the disappointments and, why he's breaking up with those players. The fantasy crush, basically Dave picks one player each week that he goes over, that he falls in love with, that he's crushing on hard. And Deontay Johnson is one of his boys. He is a Steelers fan, so I feel like he kind of held off on this one because he wanted to do it earlier in the season. And I think he even threw it by me, and I kind of just said, nah, let's hold off on that one. And I think it was after Deontay had like a 2-touchdown game or something. I was like, that's a little too obvious. And so he held off as long as he could, but he finally sent me this one over talking about Deontay. But, he puts a lot of good numbers in here. He's showing why Deontay is so important to teams right now. Obviously, the guy's just getting a lot of targets. I'm not going to read through the article or anything like that, but definitely check that out. And so you got some people watching right now. Does anybody have any start-sit questions? Anything? DFS, obviously, seasonal, redraft, dynasty, trade questions, anything? Just hit me up because we already got through all the stuff, and I don't know. I was planning on staying on until noon, so I don't want to just log off. I'd rather actually answer some questions and stuff if anybody has them. But while we're waiting for some of those to come through, the Something Caught My Eye series, which I need to put a picture on it, but that was my mistake, is something that Dave Fantasy does every week, basically just going through everything he saw when he always goes back and he rewatches the film and basically, just determines like, what caught his eye basically. And so he's going over Wayne Gallman. It's kind of hard to believe, but Wayne Gallman's a thing. Like he's a legit, I have him starting in a couple of my teams in the playoffs, and I actually feel fairly confident about it. I didn't feel as confident a couple of weeks ago, but I mean, the man is he's doing it. And, sometimes you just have to take a step back and say, hey, I'm just gonna deal with it. I maybe I wasn't a true believer, but now I am. The Colts, talking about Jonathan Taylor, T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman, a lot going on there. And then Corey Davis. It took 4 years, but Corey Davis is a real thing. That's what I like to see in an article. Dave putting out facts right there. Justin Jefferson. But, it's just definitely something you should be checking out each week, what he is doing. And like I said, that's at containerconnection.com. Just click on the latest articles. It'll pop up and you can check out. We have strategy pieces. We have obviously all the stuff from Dave, more like in-season redraft kind of stuff. And then Yeah, there's a lot more. We basically just about anything you want. We have some top buys and sells from Ryan Polish. He put out a good article there, but check that out. So we have Nathan, who I was talking about having balls of steel. He's tilting a bit on Hansen, to be honest. And Isaiah Coulter is active. Okay, so that's interesting. Now let's think about that. The fact that Coulter was a healthy scratch last week makes me think that either they felt like he wasn't ready, or they I don't know. That is a hard one with Coulter being active. It's not like Hansen's really a thing. He looked good. Honestly, if you went back and watched him, Hansen looked like a man on fire. Like he wanted to what's the right word? Like he wanted to prove something. He really did. And so it looked like, somebody that you would want to start, but at the same time, I don't know. But I know for Nathan, he was starting him over Tyler Boyd, and I don't trust in Tyler Boyd either. I know he had the one big play. It was basically a broken play last week, but he, and Nathan's saying he looked like prime Chris Hogan, which is true. I mean, like you said, he looked like a man trying to prove something, like, he needs a team, he needs a contract, like that kind of thing. And that's who I want. But I also know that Brandon Cooks that's why Isaiah Coulter is out, or is playing this week, because Brandon Cooks is out. So if anything, I guess Coulter would kind of take the Cooks role, and he's not going to be as good as Cooks. And then, Hansen's still going to be out there. Hansen ran a lot of routes. He was on the field quite a bit. And so I still feel like I would feel more confident. I'd rather have Deshaun Watson throwing to Hansen than Brandon Allen throwing to Tyler Boyd. I think that's my final answer. Might not be right, but but that. And then another one, and I already said earlier, but I went back and forth about starting DeAndre Washington in a league, and I guess I technically still haven't made up my mind 100%, but I don't normally do the whole like last minute changes thing. I kind of wake up Sunday mornings, I set my lineups, and then I just kind of leave them alone for the most part, unless we get new information or anything. But the DeAndre Washington one is kind of one I'm going back and forth about, because he has every opportunity. Patrick Laird, even a couple weeks ago when it was kind of the DeAndre Washington show, Patrick Laird only got like one carry or something like that. It wasn't a lot. And he didn't do much with it. I don't think anyone really truly like believes in Laird. So I don't know. That's kind of tough there. I think I would lean Washington there, honestly. Just for reasons, even though Hansen looked good last week, there's no guarantees of anything. Whereas I feel like you're almost guaranteed that Washington's going to get a good amount of touches here. The real question is going to be, is Tua going to dump it off to him? Because obviously you're assuming that they're going to be playing from behind. And if they're playing from behind, then you're going to be hoping for the dump offs, where, last week, I think Gaskin only had a few, if I remember correctly, which actually, I guess I could check it out here real quick. Go back to the database and see. Sorry, I'll just take a second. Gaskin. Oh, I was on the wrong page. Sorry. But honestly, I kind of feel like the two of those, Hansen or Washington, are kind of similar plays. So I wouldn't really feel great about playing either one, but I don't really feel like uncomfortable playing either one either. While I'm just kind of trying to like buy some time here while I'm trying to get to this page. But yeah, so Gaskin had 15.4 weighted opportunities in week 13. He had a 76.7% opportunity share. And he only had 2 targets, and that's what I was kind of worried about. We don't know we don't know exactly how Tua is going to like target DeAndre Washington, and so if they're playing from behind, is Washington going to be a big part of it? And that's kind of why I've been going back and forth about it. And I didn't really want to play him over Fournette, even though I feel like it's actually the right call. Like I feel like I should play Washington over Fournette, but I'm kind of tilting about that one. But yeah, if anybody has any other start sit questions, DFS lineup questions, or anything like that, Omega, normally I can't. Oh wow! See, this is good news. I did not know that Fournette was inactive, and this is stuff that I would normally be checking, before the game. That is very interesting. I wonder, Dave, is he a healthy scratch or is there something else? It's a healthy scratch. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's very interesting. And I'm going to go through and change that lineup real quick. I'm glad that I added DeAndre Washington in that league. That's crazy. But you know what? It is crazy, but at the same time, that makes you feel so much better about starting Ronald Jones, because I don't know about you guys, but every time I've started Jones, Fournette's maybe not blown up, but like shown up, and then, vice versa. So that is very, very interesting. And then we got FFB Factory and sit one, Chubb, Jacobs, Taylor, and Davis. Ooh. Yeah, that's tough. Chubb against Baltimore, Jacobs, Taylor, and Davis. Here, I'm going to go back to that one. I'm going to set my lineup real quick. Yeah, I think I'm going with Spaceman here and going Davis. Davis, he has the opportunity. The only reason why I was kind of waffling there is because Davis did have the bye week. I feel like we saw him kind of falling off, and that he didn't do anything for you for a few weeks, but having that bye week being hopefully 100% at this point, I would be okay with Davis. But between those, like, you're starting Chubb, obviously you're starting Jacobs, assuming he's healthy, and then you're starting Taylor against the Raiders. So yeah, Davis is the one that he's sitting, or that I'm sitting. I mean, he's also losing opportunities to other secondary pieces in that backfield, which is true. Obviously you're getting your Curtis Samuel and everything. Like I said, the only thing I was really thinking about was that he is coming off the bye. He should be healthy, because we saw at the beginning of the season when he was 100% healthy, when he was fresh, that he came in and he looked awesome. And so I would hate to miss that. But against those options, yeah, I definitely think I'd be sitting Davis for sure. And yeah, sorry, I have to go through and change that lineup real quick. It's kind of funny how sometimes it works out to where you don't even have to make the decision for yourself. The coaches or the teams do it for you. I'm not really overly excited about Fournette being a healthy scratch. That doesn't bode well for him doing anything for you anyway. But yeah, that's definitely interesting to say the least. And yeah, of course, you're welcome, FFB Factory. Get him out and get Washington in. There we go. That is done. Makes me feel a lot better. Hopefully you guys, if you didn't know already, then now you know Fournette is a healthy scratch, and get him out of your lineups. I'll definitely be something I'll be doing just to make sure. I'm pretty sure that was the only league I was starting Fournette, but make sure that I don't have him going in any of the other ones. But before I get out of here, I'm going to make sure that I didn't miss any other on Mike's page. Obviously, I want to pimp out everybody's stuff, do all that. Obviously, if you have any other questions, let me know, and I will get to those as well. But let me check Mike's page once again, just make sure nobody else came in here. Doesn't look like it. So, well, if nobody else has any questions, it's getting pretty close to noon. I'm going to go ahead and check my lineups, get ready, set up all my TVs. I set up 4 screens each week and try to watch as much football as I possibly can so that we can get ready for the weekly recap show that me and myself and Nubs do at Nubs. Obviously, you can see that below. Let's get him to 600. Yeah, other than that, I really appreciate all the love that Mike and Marco are showing everybody, and that's why I wanted to kind of do my part, if anything, to really put it out there, show off everyone's stuff. And good luck to you as well, Nate. I don't think I'm playing you in any leagues, so I can truly say good luck to you. But yeah, I appreciate you guys listening, watching, whatever. Follow the Monocle. Check out ContenderConnection.com. A lot of great articles and everything going there. And, follow Dave Fantasy, follow FF Spaceman, follow, all those guys. They're putting out such good content, much better than myself. And you definitely need to be checking out their stuff. But I will see you next week for the Sunday Social. Until then, good luck, everyone. I hope you guys all make it to week 15 of the playoffs. If you don't already have the buys and everything, and enjoy your Sunday.